Let's use the December 2025 SheetLoad of cards and the Christmas Critters collection to make these 6 adorable Christmas cards. Hey, it's Beth. Welcome. It's time for the December 2025 SheetLoad of cards from Call Me Crafty Owl. So I'm going to be using that today along with the Christmas Critters collection from the Not Too Shabby Shop to make some fun little Christmas cards. I have everything pre-cut, so while I am assembling, I want to tell you a little bit more about the SheetLoad of cards if you are not familiar with the SheetLoad of cards sketches yet. And this is a hop, so all of the SheetLoad creative team members will be sharing their take on the SheetLoad, their cards they're making with the SheetLoad today, so there will be a playlist linked in the description box below for you. But each month, Call Me Crafty Owl puts out a PDF printable that contains a card sketch, a supply list, a cut list, pretty much everything that you need to tell you how to make a set number of cards. This month, it uses 6x6 paper and it does yield 6 cards. So it's always just a fun, kind of easy way to make a batch of cards. And it's the hardest part is kind of just choosing the papers and the embellishments that you want to use. So like I said, I'm using the Christmas Critters collection. I used a couple sheets from the Christmas Critters and then a sheet from the Christmas Critter Basics just to kind of have not so busy pattern, just kind of have like a more simple pattern mixed in there. But it's 3 sheets and you just kind of mix and match the patterns on each card. So it's just kind of a fun way to showcase the papers. And I had a lot of fun playing with these. This month, Call Me Crafty Owl is also offering a little sentiment sampler, if you will. So on the last page of the SheetLoad, there is a little sampler of some Christmas sentiments that you can use on your cards. And one of the nice things is that this month those sentiments coordinate with the Not Too Shabby's One and Done sentiments die. So if you happen to have that, you can use that with the sentiments. And then if you are a channel member, one of the member bonuses this month is a sentiment sheet that also coordinates with that die. So I don't have that yet, but it is on my list. And it's kind of cool that, she created it to coordinate so that if you have that, it makes your card making even easier with this month's SheetLoad. So check out that final page for your free sentiments. And then the SheetLoad is free to download. Alicia just asked that you sign up as a subscriber or become a subscriber on her channel. If you love what she does and you want to support her even further, she does have channel membership tiers. And like I mentioned earlier, the sentiment sheet is one of the member bonuses. She also has some digital papers that are free for members. And then one of the biggest perks is just having access to the archive of the SheetLoads. So the SheetLoads stay active for I think 2 years, and then they kind of go into a vault. And then the only way you can access them is through, or I guess the easiest way to access them is to become a channel member. But those are some of the perks of supporting her for all of the hard work that she contributes for the SheetLoad each month. And these cards came together pretty quickly. I like to work in an assembly line fashion. So if you followed me for any length of time, you've seen me work like this before. It's just kind of how my methodical step brain works, I guess. And then once I get all of my cards assembled, I get to put together or get to pick out some of the embellishments that I want to use from the ephemera packs. And I have that polka dot piece, like there's 2 cards that have that polka dot piece as that center rectangle element. So I knew for sure I wanted to use some bigger ephemera pieces on that one. And then I wanted to use some of there's a bunch of smaller pieces in the ephemera pack as well. So I wanted to use some of those on the other patterns. Even though they're pretty busy, it just kind of gives a little bit of extra dimension to that rectangular piece. So I found some small ones that I wanted to use, and I'm just kind of auditioning where I want them before I get them all glued down. The ephemera pack has a ton of ephemera pieces. It's got a bunch of different sizes of the little critters. It's got trees, stars, hearts. There are some sentiment strips or like banner strips that you can use as well. So it's kind of a nice variety of ephemera pieces. So on my cards, I end up using, some of those bigger ones and then some of the smaller critters. And then I also pull in quite a few of the little hearts and stars. Next, I'm going to move on to the sentiments. So I printed the final sheet of the SheetLoad PDF on some cardstock and am just trimming these out. They trim out really quickly. I didn't have to trim any extra. I could just slide it down my trimmer and separate each sentiment. And there's a nice variety of sentiments included as well. So again, if you have the one and done die, this would take you no time at all to cut all of these different sentiments out. So once I had them cut out, I did go through and figure out which 6 sentiments I wanted to use. I'm going to figure out which sentiment I want on which card and where I kind of want to place it. I know that there are 2 that I'm going to have to use some of my scrap red cardstock to back, just so that it stands out on either of the patterns that happen to be on that card on the top or bottom. And then also at this point, I am bringing in, once I know where my sentiments are going, I'm bringing in some of those little hearts and stars to embellish the other, either the top or bottom where I didn't put the sentiment, just to kind of balance things out. And I did it off camera, so you didn't see it, but I did glue all of my sentiments down. So at this point, I'm just kind of adding the final embellishments to the 4 cards that did not need a sentiment backed on the red cardstock. So on these last 2, I need to back them on some red cardstock just so they pop off of the paper. And it just so happened that one of the scraps of the cardstock I used to cut down my mats was the perfect size, or the perfect width. All I had to do was trim down the ends to match my sentiment strips. And then I did add fishtails into all of the sentiment strips. And so here, for the ones where I'm matting on red, I am just sliding the ends down together and cutting both layers together. It's just kind of the easiest way for me to get even fishtails, so that, otherwise if I did them separately, the fishtail center would be in different spots and it just wouldn't line up really well. So this is kind of the way I have found that it's easiest for me to get a matching fishtail on a matted layer as well as the top layer. So then once these are done, I can get these glued down, and just like that, these cards came together. I did use some of the scrap red cardstock that I had left on the inside of the cards as well. I didn't have any pattern paper. It's kind of a no scraps sketch in that sense for the pattern paper, so I just used some of those remaining cardstock scraps to decorate the inside, just to give them a little bit more. And then on these 2 final cards, I'm also going to come in and add some of those star and heart embellishments just to kind of balance it out and give a little bit more dimension. So here's a look at my 6 cards. I think they turned out so cute. These little critters, not too shabby, never disappoints on the cuteness in their patterns. Teresa does a great job of curating all of the collections that Jamie uses, so I had a lot of fun with these. I will have that collection linked in the description box below for you. I also will have the SheetLoad video where you can find out how to download this month's SheetLoad, and then the playlist for all of the team members' videos. So please check that description box for all of those links. And as always, I thank you so much for your time, and I hope that you all have a very crafty day.